Well, evacuations tonight are going on apace here in the Thames Valley. Behind me, rescue workers are about to bring somebody out in a wheelchair. That's just what's happening here in Wraysbury. But the Prime Minister today has been out on Chesil Bank, that natural pebble-strewn breakwater which protects the land. Well, it's not enough. They've been digging and digging, and the Prime Minister has told ministers and the Environment Agency themselves to stop digging politically and to get on with the job. But what is this about? Is this about climate change? Is it simply something which is extreme and one-off? Our science editor, Tom Clark, assesses whether what we're experiencing now is simply the new norm.
It started as a flooding crisis. It's now an all-out war on water. The flooding far below is now into its 8th week. These fields around the submerged village of Moorland are the new front line. But the earthworks aren't to save the village, but keep the floodwater where it is. To protect the town of Bridgewater from almost inevitable flooding, they're throwing up an emergency dike across there as fast as the diggers can dig it. Then these pipes and pumps, fresh off the boat from Holland, are going in a new river channel that's being dug there to try and get the water from behind the dike into the River Parrett, which drains to the sea. The problem they've got is that if there's more flood water than those pumps can handle, anyone living on this side of the dike is going to experience worse flooding than they have done already. Yesterday, Rona Light heard an emergency dike was being run through her field. Now it's finished, but her home is on the wrong side.
The implication is that they're trying to stop the flood water going towards the road, to the pumping station and then on to Bridgewater, which means that the flooding will be considerably worse for us, and I'm now expecting the water to go into our second floor, and I'm going to have to ring up the insurance people and tell them, and that's a tragedy for a house that was first built in 1575.
Further upstream in Boroughbridge, word has spread that the new dikes may make things worse before they get better. Volunteers are pouring in to help, including a Sikh aid charity all the way from Slough.
The truth slapped me in the face. Why are we not treating this like a disaster? If it happened in Asia or Africa, we'll be up on the plane. All it took is to get in the car on the motorway down here.
There's growing anxiety here about whether homes and livelihoods are being sacrificed to keep others dry. Beyond, the row continues over whether the Environment Agency has failed on floods. Visiting sea defences in Dorset, the Prime Minister refused to back the agency's chair attacked by ministers over the weekend.
This is the time to get on and do everything we can to help people.
You back him in the job as it stands?
I back the Environment Agency, I back the work they're doing.
Job.
Everyone's got to get on with the job that they're doing. That's all I'm interested in at the moment.
So you certainly shouldn't resign.
No, there'll be time for later on to talk about these things. Right now, everybody's got to focus on the job in hand.
To defend his staff on the ground, today Lord Smith hit back.
The Chairman is here to be a punchbag, to stand up and take the flag. But my staff are doing a hugely dedicated, very professional job. These are exceptional circumstances. Every time it's the worst ever, it's the highest ever, it's the longest ever. And that means that all our old assumptions about what flood defences the country needs are almost certainly not good enough.
Few on the ground in the Somerset Levels would disagree with that. Ever since people have lived here, they've had to cope with floods. But there's a realisation this is something new, and a change in climate will mean a change to a way of life. Well, John, I've been reporting on our changing climate for Channel 4 News for a decade now, and this idea of adapting to the extremes that weather might throw at us in future has always been something for the future, to be planned for and budgeted for in advance. But that's not what we're seeing here today in the Somerset Levels or across the rest of the country. These are urgent, ad hoc, expensive responses to the disruption that weather can cause. Now, this, I think, will feed right into the political debate about our changing climate. How much as a society we're prepared to accept, how much change we're prepared to accept might be heading our way, and how much we're prepared to give up in terms of our livelihoods and budget to do something about it. Or if we decide that that change isn't happening, how much we think we can afford not to do anything about it, because what we are seeing is the expensive, costly disruption that extreme weather can bring.
Tom Clark, our science editor there.